Okay. So, maybe this is appropriate. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I feel like I should share it. And so I'm going to. I have created this healing activity for mother and father wounds because over the course of the last 3 years, I've spent a lot of time in reflection and taking the time to understand life in a lot of ways and a lot of forms. And the light is reflecting off that button and creating a line. So that's so funny. It's like magic. Look at it. They're sparkly. Anyways, um, we all have these layers of ourselves, and this has been a struggle too. Do we just accept it and move through life obliviously? Or do we dive into the depths of awareness in order to take responsibility and be the cure and the medicine for the poison that oftentimes has been fed into the darkest corners and the deepest wells of who we are, and we don't even know. But we know that we're sad or we're unhappy, or that someone hurt us, or that maybe life is just not what we want it to be. And then there's the battle between, do we just change our perspective and say, oh, it just is what it is? Or do we take the time to identify what it is in order to create deeper understanding? And because with knowledge comes great responsibility and power, and allows us the ability to better manage and control our lives, make more informed decisions, and be the captain of our own ship instead of being ransacked and taken over by pirates and barbarians, which can sometimes happen in life because we don't know the subconscious underlayers of life that are predominantly are running in the forefront of our programming. The aspects of who we've become in an identity based on the world that we've navigated through up to this point. So I designed this activity to be able to take information about mother wounds and father wounds and be able to make it this like more interactive experience, to um, dive into the layers and the stories, and not to keep bringing them up, but sometimes it takes more than one time looking at them to allow ourselves to really recognize the ways we've been deceived or violated or abused or neglected, and to really recognize those stories and not affirm them, but understand that they are not meant to be our identity. So through understanding how they've affected us and created patterns or behaviors that are maybe sometimes not very loving, we have the ability to rewrite our story and create a new path and trajectory for ourselves. So, I have created these beautiful things, but I think one of the most powerful things that I was just reading the Father Wound affirmations, and I just so happened to be working on the father wound one because I already finished the mother wound one last week, and I was just wrapping up the last details before writing out the explanation. And adding a little bit to what I had already been working on for the last month or two, and felt really inspired to just read these affirmations because they're actually quite powerful. And I think sometimes um I think it's necessary to create a positive relationship with ourselves, to affirm ourselves, build self-confidence, and to fill up the gaps and cracks and holes where affirmation might not necessarily ever been placed in the first place. And instead of, our well running dry, to be able to fill that well as much as possible so our cup can be running over. Because when our cup is running over, that's when it's easier for us to be able to give to others, which is important. Sharing in of ourselves in whatever ways that we choose, because we have the power to say no and the ability to accept or deny the things that are not for us. So I'm not trying to speak as though people are stupid, but I feel like I'm talking to my children, because I say that to them, like, I'm not trying to talk to you like you're stupid, but I'm your mom, and I want to share this information with you because I care, because I want to see people happy, and not because their happiness is my responsibility, but sometimes it's, important for us to share pathways to higher understandings, or, sometimes we witness or overhear or see something that just opens up something inside of us that we're like, I needed to hear that. I needed to know that. I needed to understand. That was like the perfect thing that I needed to hear. And it's like a click and a piece of a puzzle that is like, here you go. The universe is offering it to you. This is for you. This is yours. There was a reason why that was resonant. And it's important for us to be present in that and understand, to be able to know what resonates for us and what doesn't, because there's a lot of power behind that, because it affirms our existence and our place in the world. Now let me dig in, because I'm actually really excited about these. Father wound affirmations. So the first set begin with finding forgiveness and releasing anger, because they come in waves. I release the need to hold on to anger or resentment. I do not have to wait for an apology to heal. I do not receive closure from the outside. I forgive myself for the ways that I have coped in the past. I forgive myself for the ways I've misunderstood myself in the past. Forgiveness is for my own healing and not for the other person. I forgive myself and give myself permission to move forward. Releasing doesn't mean forgetting, it just means freeing myself. I do not allow the past to any longer control the future. I choose to create happiness and harmonious relationships, creating healthy relationships. I attract relationships that are nurturing and supportive. I do not have to repeat unhealthy patterns from my upbringing. My needs in relationships are valid and important. I am allowed to receive love without fear. I am learning to trust those who show me care and kindness. Acknowledging and validating your own pain is the next category. I am learning to accept the past without letting it control the future. My feelings are real and valid and worthy of acknowledgement. I'm allowed to hurt, even if others don't understand. My past does not define my worth. My parents don't define my worth. I am not responsible for my father's choices or wounds. I allow myself to process my emotions in a healthy way. Next category, embracing joy and inner peace. My past does not hold power over my future. I am worthy of peace, happiness, and emotional freedom. My journey of healing is a gift to myself. I am allowed to create a life filled with joy. I embrace the present moment with gratitude. Church bells. Establishing healthy boundaries is the next category. I deserve relationships that feel safe, mutual, and supportive. I trust me to recognize and enforce my limits. I do not need permission to prioritize my peace and myself. I have the right to protect my emotional well-being. Distance from toxic relationships is an act of self-love. The more you know, the more you grow. I am not responsible for managing others' emotions. Next category, letting go of guilt and shame. I do not have to earn love because I am lovable the way that I am. I am not to blame for how I was treated as a child. I forgive myself for believing that I was not enough. I am not obligated to carry the weight of my father's pain. My worth is not dependent on how much I give to others. It is not selfish for prioritizing my own healing. there is a miss. I have to correct something really quick. As I looked at that, there's an extra word that is not meant to be there. So we're just gonna Sharpie that out and get rid of it. Next category. Claiming self-worth. This is why we edit and review and have editors in the world. And this is why we forgive ourselves for being imperfect, because that's our truth. It's okay. It's still beautiful. I do not need to earn my place in the world. I am a person of dignity, beauty, and strength. My voice and my needs matter. My existence is meaningful and valuable. I do not need to prove my worth to anyone. My value is not defined by my father's approval or disapproval. Boy, have I taken that one probably to a little bit of an extreme, but that's okay. That's part of the game of healing, which is not a game. It's part of reality. And taking responsibility for ourselves, acknowledging who we are, and understanding the core essence of what leads us through life. And allowing that to change as we grow. Allowing that to shift in understanding as we become friends with ourselves and become a lot more acquainted with our actual truth. And allowing that to find itself by digging deeply within ourselves to the stories and inner workings of who we are and what we identify with, how we identify ourselves, and how we choose to move through the world. I keep moving my hair. I don't know if I want it in the front or the back, so we're just gonna keep moving it around. I'm allowed to nurture myself without guilt. My inner child is worthy of kindness and patience. I am my own safe space. I trust myself to provide the love and security that I once lacked. I give myself permission to express emotions without shame. I am learning to give myself the love and care I always needed. Embracing your healing journey. I am learning how to love and fully accept myself. I show up for myself in love and patience. My story is still unfolding in beautiful ways. I am stronger than the pain that I have endured. I am healing at my own pace, and that is okay. Sometimes we're unaware of the stories that are playing out within us that create stories of unworthiness. And it's important for us to befriend ourselves and befriend life. And we have the ability to change it in any given moment, to re-identify ourselves in our place in it and our place in it. uh, giving ourselves more freedom, or maybe less, or, taking the time to reparent. I've reparented myself as my own mother outside of my maternal parenting, and as well as refathered myself outside of my father and his parenting. Um, Deeply realizing the things that were needed and recognizing the deficiencies, and that coming on a spiritual level, like a massive download of like, this is what you need to do, and taking, little bites of the elephant, little steps, baby steps, and then whoosh, an avalanche of so much happened at one time. And that has been a massive amount of focus um, over the course of the last 5 years. And not like obsessively, because I have a life outside of that, but it's been massively important because we control the stories and the narratives of how people show up for us. We control the narratives through our energy, through our actions, through the ways we respect ourselves, and the stories that we tell ourselves about who we are. So it's important to feed correct narratives and to feed correct relationships in order to give ourselves the freedom to actually experience a higher form of truth outside of the foundation that was created that, made us the way that we are, that maybe is not necessarily, uh, well, it surely isn't our truth, because we came in here as truth, which is love and light, and then through every single experience, it changes and shapes us. And we have the ability to say, yes, I accept that, and I like myself as I am in that form or manner. Or we have the ability to be like, and these are the things that I don't like, that I would like to be better at. Just like if you were to be a painter and you wanted to hone better skills in painting, just if you were building houses or a landscaper, you want to be good at your craft. You want to cultivate a more intimate relationship with it. And so when we create deeper pathways to ourselves, then we have a more profound ability to connect to the outside world and to have deeper understanding of others around us. And that allows us the ability to hold more space for compassion, which I think the world can never be lacking. We can always use more. We can always use more compassion for ourselves and one another. And learning to correct behaviors and patterns in positive and healthy and nurturing ways, instead of very abrasive and oftentimes hurtful ways. Although some people are like, beat me down because that's how I like it. That is like a self-loathing understory that you feel that you deserve that, and it's not the truth. Because although it teaches us something, it teaches us about how we value ourselves and how we see ourselves. We're all valuable. It's just about what level of value do you hold for yourself. And you get to be the writer of your story. It's your story. So, yeah, I'm gonna lock it up, zip it, www.zipit.com. I'm done talking. I've said enough. And hopefully these are helpful and inspiring. Maybe not. Maybe you think I'm a total cuckoo. I don't know. It's your choice. I'm here to inspire and conspire and in the favor of all things beautiful and good. And also sometimes not, but mostly the first one. As I understand duality. But I do my best to just be who I need to be without it being forced to look a certain way. Giving myself the freedom of fluidity and adaptability and change when opportunities arise, or when I have to force down the door and break in and be like, let me in. Okay. Thank you for listening. Sending peace and love and hopes for inspiration. Be well, everybody. Bye-bye.